for joining us today. So this is Compass Games Live. This is episode 15. This is the 15th time we've done this, and that's a very special agenda that we have for this evening. So basically, I want to start with sharing the screen to cover some new updates as far as our schedule. So let me go ahead and do that now. So I'm just going now to the screen share, and we'll just give it a moment. So hopefully you see it now, and I'm just going to try to make my window a little, yeah, that's too big. So I think that's better. All right, so you should see my screen now, and I just want to talk about updates to the schedule that we have at Compass Games. So we did have a change this week. I've completed the update this evening before starting. So I've actually changed the format. So I'm probably confusing some of you right now because the format has changed as far as our product pipeline snapshot. What I've done is we've got so many pre-orders now that we need to announce. I've moved the pre-orders all to the right side. So now the right column, instead of showing on the right side what's been recently released, now it's basically saying what's recently been added to the pre-order list. So starting with Schutztruppe being the most recent, all the way down through Hearts and Minds 3rd edition. Of course, after our session this evening, I will be updating the recently added to pre-order list quite a bit, and that's what's part of the announcement for tonight. So now looking at the left side, we still have the upcoming titles on the top left, but I moved the recent releases. So there's actually less, there's only maybe coverage of the 8 most recent releases now, instead of maybe 14, because we need to make more room for pre-orders. So recent releases, the most recent release is Command and Colors Tricorn Expansion 1. That's the French and More expansion, which a few people on social media have already seen. So I want to talk about the change in schedule that we have made for this week to let you know what our lineup is for this month of October. So we switched positions between Paper Wars and Europe in Turmoil. So Europe in Turmoil, which is a World War I title, that card-driven game, that is going to be actually shipping next. So it switched positions with Paper Wars issue 90. So Europe in Turmoil, Prelude to the Great War, is going to be released in just a few days, in 5 days, on October 10th. And Paper Wars has been pushed a little bit out to October 25th, so 2 weeks after the release of Europe in Turmoil. And we also pushed out slightly the date for the War for the Union, the designer edition of War for the Union. That is now going to be released instead of October 31st. It's only pushed back about 10 days to November 10th. So those are the updates to our schedule for this week. So again, one actually sort of moved stuck in the schedule. Europe in Turmoil is still good for October 10th, but we did need to move Paper Wars to the 25th and War for the Union to November 10th. Now a little bit on Europe in Turmoil. If you haven't had a chance to look at that game yet, again, it's a card-driven game leading up to the outbreak of the Great War. Again, that game's going to be shipping in 5 days. So if you're looking to pre-order the game, now's a great time to go ahead and do that because it will start shipping next week. Regarding issue 90 of Paper Wars, I'm going to actually show you here something in a moment, but issue 90 is going to be MacArthur, The Road to Bataan. And I want to actually spend a moment with you to talk about what we do in Paper Wars as far as we cover a lot of outside publisher games with reviews. It's not 75% Compass Games or 85% Compass Games. It's much less than that. The majority are non-Compass game products that get reviewed. What I'd like to show you something, though, is I think something nice to see as far as some of the coverage we provide. So let me just go to something here. Let me find it. Okay, here we go. So for Paper Wars 89, so this is the release we had several months ago, and on a World War I title. And I don't know if you I believe it's called the Burning Hills. I want to say, or the Burning Mountain. I don't want to lose my space right now because I want to talk about how we help supplement our Compass games with extra counters or bonus counters. So I'm going to zoom in here for a moment. And again, this was our most recent issue that's already shipped. So what we do is we dedicate a full page in Paper Wars magazine to give a very good description of what additional errata or bonus counters we are providing with that edition of Paper Wars. So in this case, we talk about there's actually 5 different game titles that got some coverage, and you can see the number of counters in brackets. And again, this is all in Paper Wars itself. And then we have an image. Let me scroll up for just a moment. So I skipped ahead. Burning Mountains. There you go. I was right. Burning Mountains. But if you look here at the bottom of the page that talks about the 5 titles, here we point out where those bonus counters are. So if you own Paper Wars, obviously you've received the counter sheet. You've looked very closely at it. I'll zoom in here a bit more so you can see it. If it will allow me to zoom in a little better. So here you can see we have the little lines. It's on the actual counter sheet where we have the delineations. So again, that's something that you'll be accustomed to see from us in Paper Wars. This is, again, the last issue that will give you a nice summary or summation of what the bonus or errata counters cover. Try to make it as clear as possible. What I want to do now is I want to give you a sneak peek for Paper Wars 90. That's our next issue. It's going to be shipping again October 25th in a little more than 2 weeks. So what I want to do first is talk about that same coverage in Paper Wars 90, same concept. So again, it takes a look. In this case, we actually didn't show the full counter sheet. We just focused on a portion of the counter sheet of what those bonus counters are that were included in this issue. So let me zoom in now to give you a better idea of what it looks like. So here for the extra counters in our next upcoming issue of Paper Wars, you have 18 counters for On to Paris, then we have Absolute Victory, and then we just have 1 for several titles, Storming the Reich through Fall of the Reich, and then Empire and Alliances gets 2 additional markers, and War in the Wind gets 9 replacement counters. So usually additional markers are the bonus counters, and replacement counters would be the, say, the errata counters. And here is where we show them. So we've got letters, A through H, and you can see A through H with the red letters where we're pointing out for you what are those, what are those counters for which game, and here you can sort of match them up. So I hope that's something you find helpful for those that are on the webcast, since Facebook Live isn't working. You've got a Q&A button you can click if you have any questions for me tonight, or you can just hit the chat button, and chat works as well as an option. So let me just zoom out for a second, because I thought while we're in Paper Wars issue 90, maybe you'd like to see a little bit of it. So this is a real sneak peek. So here we have, again, I'm just going to make this fit the screen. So here we have the cover for Paper Wars, and what I'm going to do now, let me see if I can change the view to maybe 2-page view. So let's try that, see if that works. Hopefully it does. That's thinking. So here we go, Paper Wars. So here we have the opening pages with the summer editorial from Adam Starkweather, our editor. Then we have coverage of Europe in Turmoil, which again is that next boxed game release. So good timing. You'll actually have the game already, and then shortly thereafter you'll have this article on Europe in Turmoil. Lebensraum being available. Concentration and Warfare by John Gorkowski. So a general interest piece on design and warfare history, no specific game. Then again, we cover a lot of different publishers' games. So we have The Battle of Midway by Joel Toppin. Good coverage of that. We have another game covered by Vance von Boris' article contribution on Forgotten Legions, and this one's titled Forgotten Politics, focuses on politics with a bonus scenario. So we're adding a bonus scenario for Forgotten Legions. Then we get into the rule booklet for MacArthur, which is the Jack Green design. So you can see the rules here for the game, charts and tables, etc. Then the extra counters we just covered on. 9 Days in Hell, a 2-map scenario for CSS Guam is provided with full details. A special Behind the Lines report about Compass Games in general, just talking about all the various activities at Compass Games, what everybody is working on, and everybody gives a game update. You'll see one from Ken Dingley, myself, Bill Thomas, Adam Starkweather, Uli Blenneman for the Euro games. Here we have another game here, Battle of Hanschuta is covered. Article on Lebensraum, Stalingrad, Verdun on the Volga by Revolution Games. Again, with a lot of photos. We have Compass Games Expo coming up, less than 2 months away. The errata for Burning Mountains is provided, and the back cover. So I hope this gives you a good, nice overview of what's going to be coming October 25th in Paper Wars 90. And I just, again, wanted to spend some time on the errata, the bonus counters or the replacement counters that are provided, and how we give you good coverage to understand exactly what you're getting. So next thing I want to talk about is some updates to other products. So Brotherhood and Unity is currently on our pre-order list, and I want to give you an update on the game map. So this is not posted. This update is not on the website yet for the product page. I'm going to be posting it tomorrow. So for the Brotherhood and Unity map, I'm going to be zooming in here because what the focus has been, we've gotten feedback from interested gamers who are really interested in this topic, that they had trouble distinguishing where the different region boundaries on the map were. So I'm going to zoom in here to show you how we've updated that treatment. So I'm going in at 100% now. And I just want to point out, so we're using the more typical markings you would see for geography. So if here for the top area, I can't pronounce that really, Bosananska, Krajina, that top area right here, you can see we've got these sort of maroon dashed lines, double dashed lines. Those are going to be your territories. Those are going to be where your territories split up. But I did, I'm looking at the map and studying it. I think it's pretty clear to see where these distinct, discrete regions are. Follow, the red color, the maroon color, and plus the different type of dashed line. It's a different line that's used here to delineate where the boundaries are. I was going through this map and I wasn't really having any difficulty focusing in really where are the region boundaries. And then, of course, the larger text is the name of that region with some game values associated with that territory. So again, just to show you again briefly the map, again, you can see the territorial lines, the red maroon boundaries, and then the larger text is the information about those regions of that area. So that is an update to the map. This is really going to be the final map for Brotherhood and Unity, covering Bosnia-Herzegovina, that conflict. And again, I will be posting this updated map on the Compass website tomorrow. So there you can get a good shot of the overall map for Brotherhood and Unity. So I hope that gives you a better idea of some of the enhancements we've made to help you delineate those lines. And of course, when you see the actual size of the game map in front of you, those boundary lines are going to be, I think, pretty clear to see and pretty easy to follow in the end. So hopefully a thumbs up for that. The next thing I want to do now is somebody asked on Facebook just yesterday, maybe the day before, about an update for War for the Union. So I'm going to War for the Union now. And yes, I promised I would work to give you an update on War for the Union. This again is shipping in early November. I believe it was November 10th. So coming quite soon. Quite anticipated game on the Civil War. Again, the new edition that was originally released by Clash of Arms by designer Rob Bama. The question was about the game map. So the game map had not yet been posted, so I just posted it in the last hour. So it's two maps, a portrait mode as far as orientation. So it's two maps, portrait mode brought together, and you can see the map here. So again, if you want to get an idea, this is a first look now at the two 22 by 34 map sheets for the much anticipated The War for the Union designer edition by Rob Bama. So I know a lot of you had questions about that. You can see a lot of the holding areas, off-board movement areas as well, the train effects chart, train keys off to the left side here, and then we have some turn record tracks and other tracks for the game as well. So I hope what you see here is something that you'll like. I think the artwork was done quite nicely here, a really nice theme. Overall theme for the game, and I just wanted to really share that with you so you can see that. And I want to thank Michael Perry for joining us from Frisco, Texas. So nice to have, I'm in Plano, Texas, so nice to have a neighbor here joining us. So that's a quick update for you on War for the Union. So now I need you all to take a collective breath for a moment. Hey, Eric, good evening. So here we go. So this is a very special broadcast that I guess would be happening twice a year is what I think will happen. So this is the first time I've actually done this. Very first time. And what this is going to be, it's going to be basically a unveiling of the Compass Games catalog, our game catalog. So I don't know how many of you get the catalog. It's usually included in our box games when you order from Compass or receive the game, you'll get the big catalog from Compass Games. So we have a new catalog. And what does that mean? Well, the catalog runs and covers quite a good swath of time. It covers all of the fall, all of the winter, and going into first and second quarter of next year. So if you've noticed as of late, typically our pre-orders, when we announce a pre-order or when I've announced a pre-order, it probably doesn't sit on the pre-order list too long unless it's a very big project. It's usually 6 months or maybe even less as far as the turnaround time. So we probably need to do a better job of making sure we get our pre-orders out in front so you have plenty of time to see what's coming. And we're going to try to do a better job of that because we have so much activity right now. And since we have this new catalog that's now shipping, it started shipping today, we've been working to update our website with the pre-order titles that are now being announced and covered in the catalog. So we don't want you to get a catalog starting early next week, or maybe some will get them as early as tomorrow. And then when you're interested in these games, maybe you don't want to order by mail, maybe you want to order pre-order now and pay later on the website. We've got to have what? We've got to have the pre-order pages ready to go on the website. But again, these are for games that are quite a bit further out than what we're accustomed to. These might be more than 6 months out. They could be 6 to 9 months out. So we've been working very hard behind the scenes to get all the pre-order pages ready. In some cases, this means the games have not yet reached the pre-production status yet as far as the artwork having started officially for the project. They're all games that are in the works at various stages, definitely with all the designers, but they might not be yet assigned to a graphic artist. So what you're going to find is most of the titles I go through tonight won't have any images yet. Of course, I'll be adding images, much like I did for the update on War for the Union game map. You know, as artwork gets completed, I'll be adding the artwork. But let's take a quick look at the catalog from Compass Games. So this will be the brand new catalog. So I'm starting at the very top here, and I'm not gonna sit here too long because we're actually going to go through some pre-order announcements of new items that are just hitting the catalog now that you'll be learning about tonight. So here's the top section of the Compass catalog. It talks about our holiday catalog. Goes through various titles here. Most of these have all been released already, actually. They all say available now. But as I go through the next section, we've got titles now coming later this year. These have all been announced in previous episodes of the Compass Games Live, like Zeppelin Raiders, Pacific Tide, Tinian, Leyden Pleasantness, Blue Water Navy. These are all titles you're familiar with. You can see artwork already posted here in the catalog for these games. But as I scroll through here, and as I scroll through here faster, we start losing imagery because I'm going to be announcing a whole bunch of new games today. So again, a full catalog, lots of games, and we're playing catch up. So I'm really excited. I'm only going to get to do this twice a year with you. So this is a very special live episode. I'm really glad if you were able to move over to the webcast. It's unfortunate that Facebook Live decided not to work tonight, but I think you're going to be in for a treat, and then we'll cover the Facebook folks with the recorded session later. So absolutely no time for designer interviews for this segment because there's more than one pre-order title that we're actually going to be covering tonight. So let's go ahead and we're going to get started. So one thing, I have a question for you all, so let me stop sharing for a moment. I want you to use, you can use the chat button. I've got the chat button open right now. And Mike's asking, will the catalog be available for download soon? I'll have to check on that. I believe in the past we haven't made the catalog available for immediate download. It's something we really distribute print edition-wise. But if you send us from the website, Compass website, Mike, we'll send you the catalog in the mail. I mean, that's the way we want to send it to people, actually. I know PDFs and everything are great. So I'll find out if we can release the PDF, but if we don't release the catalog, because I don't think we did that last time, at least not right away, as long as we have your address on the website, we can send you the catalog in the mail, so you don't have to like buy a game. You know, you don't have to buy a game and have a game shipped to you, etc. We'll just send you the catalog. We just put an address label. Actually, we're putting address labels. They're all shipping out now, so you're going to be getting it very soon in the mail. It's going out to our entire customer base. It's a huge deal at Compass. Our catalog, unlike maybe other publishers, we do all out. It's a full court press, and the catalog's worked extremely well for us. So we want to get it out hard copy to you all. But I will check, Mike, about the catalog. So on the chat area, what I'd like to ask you right now is how many pre-order titles do you think I'm going to be announcing tonight to you? And again, I just want to see in the chat. So if you go to the chat, okay, Jason says there's going to be 6. I want to see who wins. Let's see who wins. So Greg says 10, Kevin says 4, Michael and Mark say 7, Mike Will says 8, Greg Johnson says 6, David says 8. Oh, you're putting a lot of pressure on me. These are pretty big numbers. 6 is from Greg and David. So yeah, it's a special night, right? So we're not doing the one designer interview and the one pre-order announcement. So I sort of lied with the graphic this week about the pre-order announcement. So let me count so I get it right. Okay, so the big winner is a prize. Yeah, well, I'll get a prize for the winner. So the winner is Greg Keitzer is the winner tonight. Congratulations, Greg. I'll have to find something to send you. I'll do my best. I can send you maybe Eagle in the Sun from Fresno Games as a joke. Maybe not. So just kidding. So it's an inside joke, right? So Greg guessed, and how many did Greg guess? We've got 10. This is my help sheet. We've got 10 new pre-order games to announce. So a little crazy. So Greg, we'll send you the catalog for sure. So let's start. And I'm going to go in order of anticipated release date. And as an FYI, let me check here real quick. 1, 2, 3. Oh, you know what? I may have been off. Well, you know what? I see an error here. It might actually be 9. Decision at Castring is on here, which shouldn't have been. And Decision at Castring has already been announced. So there's already errata tonight. And I know you're all disappointed. So maybe it's 9. I don't know. There's so many. I'm going to check. But I think it's 9, I want to say, which makes sense because I had 8 and I added 1 today. So I think it is 9. So I think Greg still wins. There were some 8s as well. Now I owe everybody a prize. Oh my God, it's horrible. Now I owe door prizes across the gamut. So I'm going to go in order of approximate release date. And not to scare you, but all 9 game projects we're announcing are all ones that I'm managing. So these are all in my project pipeline. I have a pretty serious project pipeline. I have a lot more. But these are all titles that are going to be released starting Q1 of next year. So these are titles that might only be 4 to 5 months away, or as much as maybe 9 months away. But the scary part maybe for all of you here is all this will be done inside of a year. So inside of a year, inside of 12 months, 9 of these projects will definitely be completed because they're in various states of completion. And maybe I can talk one episode how I actually manage projects and how I do it and how I get really good helpers and how it actually works out. And keep in mind, some of these projects might be new additions of past games, which we'll look at, which is a different type of project. And also, you know, they've been sitting with designers for maybe a year already, and we've just kept it quiet. So there's actually a lot of lead time you don't even know about for most of these games. So I'm going to go pick the first game that I think will come out of this batch, and I'm going to share my screen and show it to you now. And I've got 9 to show you. Oh boy, I've got 9 to show you. This is going to be a challenge, but we're going to try. So please bear with me. Please be brave with me. So I'm now going in alphabetical order to get to the game I want to get to. And away we go. So I'm going to show this on the screen now, and hopefully you can see this okay. So hopefully you'll give me a thumbs up that you can now see this. So we have the first one, and the first tip-off here is we have a related product. So Pacific Tide. Why is that there as a related product? Well, that is because we have the Eastern Front World War II version of Pacific Tide game system. And actually, Ost Krieg was designed first. It was designed about 2 to 3 years ago by Mitch Ledford. Gregory Smith got a hold of it. Mitch is one of his friends. You probably know Gregory Smith from Night Fighter Ace, which was recently released, etc. So Ost Krieg was actually done first, but we want to get Pacific Tide out on the market. We just thought that might be the way to go. So that's what's happened. So Pacific Tide's coming very soon. So this is the exact same game system as Pacific Tide. So it's got a very small footprint. It's got a half map footprint. It's got the single counter sheet of 9 16-inch counters, 53 game cards using the same build buy system as Pacific Tide. but it's not carrier. It's not the carrier air war. It's the land-based. It's the land and land air war of Eastern Front. So completely different situation. But again, it's going to be very familiar to you because this is based on Pacific Tide. So if you love Pacific Tide, Ost Krieg out of my list of 9 here on my sheet, Ost Krieg's going to be coming first. I definitely see that coming. I said Q2 2019 here. I think the cards will be printed before then. I think this should be Q1, first quarter of next year. I'll probably plan to update the webpage. I think we can make Q1 of 2019 for Ost Krieg. That's Germany versus Russia, the entire Eastern Front war. So again, that's our first one. So now I'm going to pull away the web page so you can't see what I'm doing. I'm so mean. I'm so mean to you guys. You probably hate me. But I want to go back and I want to go alphabetical here. I'm going to pull the second game that's going to come. This one right now is being, it's in pre-production already. So this one is coming fast. This one's coming fast. So this one, I'm going to be really interested in how many are familiar with this one. And you let me know in the chat. Mike hates me. His wallet hates me. So this is one I'm really excited about. And this one has been sitting around for a while, and I didn't know about it, and I jumped on it. And it's by Chris Fawcett. He's a big fan, big follower of Frank Chadwick's design, also John Hill's original design of Bar-Lev. How many of you are familiar with Bar-Lev, the 1973 Arab-Israeli War? It was done originally by John Hill, and then it was followed up by GDW Frank Chadwick. And this is an all-new deluxe edition of Bar-Lev. It's being worked on right now by Knut Grunitz, who does great artwork. He's one of our several great artists that we have. He's working on it right now. So Bar-Lev is actually, it's 2 maps in one. If you look at the pre-order page or want to follow along with me here, it covers, again, this game is already, you'll know about the game from Board Game Geek. You want to look at the GDW version because it's closer to that, but there are quite a few changes to it. And again, this design has been done for some time, and that's why I can provide you with some specific updates about Bar-Lev. The game map information is being updated. Of course, all new artwork. It's got redesigned 9/16 inch counters. All new player aid charts, improved player aid charts. The big push here is the updated order of battle. That's been done, and we're having Frank Chadwick consult with us on the order of battle because he's also an expert on the whole campaign of the war. And all the resolutions have been converted from a D6 to a D10. Some people just prefer that, and that's already been done by the designer. The biggest change is the game system itself. It now has fully integrated air and air defense systems, and the sequence of play has been completely re-engineered. So that's the biggest change to the game. So it's order of battle, new units, it's the map, updates to the map. Some of the SAM missile sites have been added. There's some new SAM missile sites that weren't there before, for example, and definitely the integrated air and air defense system is all new, and then the sequence of play falls in line with that. So again, this won't be the orange map like the first edition that John Hill did for conflict games. This will be a very, very nicely done. So there's a full-size 22 by 34 inch map, both of them. We didn't want to go super-sized on this because we wanted to really keep it to one full-size map for each, but we were able to do 9/16 inch counters. So they'll be quite readable, and they should fit okay. So I hope there's a thumbs up for Bar-Lev. Again, very exciting. This is already in pre-production. We'll have the box cover. The front cover should be up in the next week or so, I would think, on the pre-order page. And this will be released in Q2 of next year. So I hope that's a thumbs up from you all as far as Bar-Lev. It really is a great game. So that's why I'm really excited about it. And I'll have Chris Fawcett on to do an interview because maybe there's something else in store later next year that might be somewhat related to Bar-Lev, but something new and different. But that's not for tonight. So let's go. This one you're going to like. So I'm off the screen, and I'm going back to pick number 3. And this one, yeah, this one's good. This one's worth staying on with me live tonight. I think you're going to like this one. So let me get it ready. All right. So I'm going to lay this one on you now. And this one you're definitely going to know about. So I want to see some thumbs up on this one that you know about this one, okay? So I talked to Gregory Smith because you see Night Fighter Ace, right? So some of you, I hope you'll tell me you have Night Fighter Ace, or you've seen it online, social media. You've seen the coverage Greg's done with it. He answers questions same day. If any questions come up, the errata is still less than a page. You know, the current errata sheet, very, you know, came through pretty good, pretty happy with it. But I hope I'm going to get some chat thumbs up that you're familiar with Night Fighter Ace. So what is it about Night Fighter Ace? So we were getting a great response to it. You know, the story, you know, the narrative that plays out in the game. You've got the little, you've got the pilot with their you know, their uniform with all the different medals, medallions, and skills, everything they can earn. You know, so we know you guys are loving that. So we don't want to sit and wait on something here. We want to strike while the fire's hot. So Night Fighter is what? It's the evening. It's the night air defense of Germany. So guess what we're doing? Daylight air defense during the day, right? Of course. Why not? So it's Interceptor Ace. So again, very similar. If you know Night Fighter Ace, the components extremely similar to Night Fighter Ace. Really sort of like the same game, but then again, it's not, because Greg does his historical research, and it's going to be different. You know, daytime, quite a bit different. We'll have Greg on for an interview because there are differences with this game. But again, I think we had 16 aircraft display mats with Night Fighter, and this one we have 15. I think there's 30 aircraft total instead of 32. We've got two bomber mats again. We got the air operations display. There's 8 ace pilot cards, 60 combat cards. You can see the family of aircraft. It's BF-109s, 11 of them in the family, 4 for BF-110s, Messerschmitt's 410, there's 2, and Focke-Wulf 190s, there's 13. And then the fighter bases for daylight, you can see what those look like. So again, we're keeping Greg very busy, and there's actually more Greg's doing. There is more that Greg's doing, trust me. So it's not just this one, but this one's going to be next. So this one, expect this one next. He's got Zeppelin Raiders that you know about already, which is going to be really exciting. And we have some great artwork coming on that. Artwork's almost done for Zeppelin Raiders, by the way. So we're just got the rules coming up. And then Zeppelin Raiders is going to be in the can for us. And that's one of Greg's titles as well. So I hope you're in on that one. I see Greg Johnson in on that, so I'm happy to hear that. So next, yes, I'm pulling away on the screen. I'm being mean to you guys. Let me pull up the next one. So this is number 4 out of 9. I'm going to lose my voice. I'm going to lose my voice tonight. But I have to do it. I have to get them all done. I want to get them all done. So this one I've actually mentioned already, and this one I have a little picture of it. So yay. So this one you might know about already. So this one is from Masahiro Yamazaki. How many of you already know about this? I've talked about this, and Masahiro has also posted on Facebook, on social media, showing the game map, the progress on play testing. So what's really nice about this, Masahiro has done a lot of Eastern Front World War II games. He's a very prolific game designer in Japan. He does Six Angles magazine for many years. He's also now a prolific book author. He's working on 2 political books in Japan right now. So he has another career outside of military history books and board game designs. He's also in the political scene in Japan, very heavily in the political scene in Japan for contemporary politics. But while he's working on his 2 books and wrapping up his 2 books in politics, we have For Motherland. I think originally we called this Motherland 2, but I was getting a little confused with War for the Motherland. So War for the Motherland is the 2-map game that Masahiro has had published by several publishers in the past. So this is a new design. It's different. It's not a new edition of War for the Motherland, which is a 2-map design. What we've done here is we've taken the War for the Motherland 2-map footprint, and we've basically made it reduced in scope to a single mounted game map. So we're going to have a single mounted map for the war in Russia. It's using mechanics from War for the Motherland, the 2-map game, but the game now, it's just one. It's a nice mounted map, nice oversized counters, 5/8-inch counters. But what's also nice is War for the Motherland is 2 maps, a lot more units, about 40+ game turns to complete. This one I think is around 22 game turns to complete. So the play time is going to be cut by more than half because you've got lower counter density because it's an army level or sorry, it's core level for, I believe it's the Soviets and all the Axis satellites, and then it's army level for the Germans. And I'll double check that to make sure I got that right. But basically, very playable, single map game. Yes, it's army for the Soviets and the Axis miners, and then for the German side, it's for the core German units, they're all core level. So the satellite Axis satellite countries are Axis miners are handled as at the army level. So this has several scenarios actually, and the full game will take about 8 hours or thereabouts to get through the 20 plus turns. So in the multiple scenarios, you'll see in the game description. So again, Moss has been working on this. You've probably seen this. So Moss has been working on this, and we're really excited about it. And I'm sorry, it's 9/16-inch counters because it's a single map. So we couldn't go 5/8 inch, but it's 2 counter sheets of 9/16-inch counters, order of appearance cards, mounted map. It's going to be a great package. So, and that's going to be second quarter of next year. So again, we're already in October, and this is going to be done before June. So again, you can see the clip and the pace. We're getting these games out the door, but they've been worked on for some time. So that is War for the Motherland. So let's see what I've got next for you for the next pre-order announcement tonight. This one I haven't talked too much about. We're going to have an interview. We're definitely going to have an interview on this one. I think a lot of you are going to be, this is a different time era that's been quite popular as of late as well. And we're going to do a designer interview on this. So the next one is a remake of NATO, the Next War in Europe. It's the designer signature edition for those that are familiar with those projects that I do that are the designer signature edition. That's where we take a game, classic game that's already been done. We look to maybe supersize the components, make them easier and friendlier to work with. We retool the entire game. We try to make it not only bigger, but smarter with better mnemonics, better player aid cards, completely reworked rules of play, charts and tables, player aid cards, game system, all the known errata, all the known complaints and gripes about the game that we've learned from various posts through the years and various game review articles. Bruce Maxwell is our guy. He's from Victory Games, and he's back to game design. And our first project with Bruce Maxwell is an update to NATO, the Next War in Europe. Now, I don't want to steal Bruce's thunder, but you'll see a lot of bullet points here about all the updates we're making to the game. Bruce is very knowledgeable, and I always research every title for Designer Research Edition. I always research it on what the feedback is. And then we usually have a team of people that are involved in the project team that are veterans of the game. And we learn from them also. We confirm what are the things we need to fix in the game. Because typically, we don't want to fix things that don't need fixing. We don't want to change the games and make them unrecognizable as a designer signature edition. And also, since it is a designer signature edition, we always ask the designer, what do you want to do with this design? Do you want to redo it completely, like we did with Vance von Boris and Forgotten Legions that he did with his games? Or do you want to just, clean up a few things and change a few things up? This one has an interesting background from player feedback. So let me share with you what we're definitely doing, because it's very clear what needs to be done for this game to be really enjoyed by all of you on NATO. What we're doing, first of all, is we're doing some simple no-brainer things. All the errata, of course, is always included. But very specifically, there's 2 bits I want to share with you about where players had problem with the game. One is, probably the most obvious, is coastal hexes had a very specific role in NATO. But the original Victory Games map, you really couldn't make out where the coastal hexes were. It just wasn't very clear, and it was a point of frustration for players. So Bruce already knew this. I already knew this. We're adding a coastal hex train type to the game to make it abundantly clear. So there's no more frustration whatsoever where those important coastal hexes are in the game. We're solving that problem. Another thing we're doing more cosmetically than anything is when Victory printed the map, all the towns in the forest hex train, all the forest labels fell off the map. So if you have NATO right now from Victory Games, you won't have any named towns or cities that are located in forest type terrain. They never got printed. The town designations never happened. So of course we're fixing that as well. Now this is the most important part. Bruce has been going hardcore on all the updated order of battle based on newly released information that's available for researching from the Warsaw Pact side especially. Again, the Iron Curtain came down, a lot of new publications. Bruce gets a hold of the actual research material, the real important stuff. And two things were very evident. First of all, there were concerns that the original NATO was just a too one-sided, it was too much of a lopsided affair that the Warsaw Pact could just steamroll over NATO. And what happened was Bruce was using 1983 as the postulated start of the conflict opening up for the next war. And again, it was already, players were saying, I don't see how this is going to work out for NATO unless we have tactical nukes start happening. It's just the play balance simply isn't there. So Bruce made the hard decision, and he said, you know what? I've done all this research, and there's a lot more Warsaw Pact units that have been discovered that he wasn't aware of before. He wasn't aware of before. A lot of new Warsaw Pact units. He was walking me through what these new formations were. And we obviously talked and said, okay, well, the game's already one-sided. It's a steamroller for Warsaw Pact in 83 already. Do people want like a solitaire version of the game being over in one turn, literally? So no, we're not doing that. So what we're doing is we're moving the timeline. This is the most important change. A great order of battle. You're going to love the game just for the updated order of battle. Bruce is taking it very seriously. You're going to have a fantastic order of battle, all updated for 1986. Not 1983, but 1986. By doing that, you have all the Warsaw units that have been discovered, but also the NATO air power has time now to make its gains for the buildup of the NATO side. So that is that makes the game let's call it less unbalanced. That's the best decision by far we could make for this project. So again, I hope it's one you're excited about. It's going to have a great historical order battle for 1986, and we do care about the play balance and making it competitive and an enjoyable two-player affair. So again, I'm hoping that's one you're really going to like. So that's a little bit about NATO. Designer Signature Edition. It's going to be a little bit bigger. It's going to have 2 maps instead of 1 and 5/8" counters. Designer Signature Edition with supersized components. And that will be out second quarter of next year as well, and making good progress with that game. There's also, I believe, one new scenario that Bruce is adding to the game as well. So we just talked about victory games. So maybe we can talk about, let's talk about victory games some more. Let's talk about another Designer Signature Edition of a Victory Games title. Let's do that. So the next update coming, which is again going to fall under the Designer Signature Edition label, is let's welcome Joe Bukowski. I'll be doing a designer interview with Joe. The first project we're doing with Joe is a remake of the Korean War, June 50 through May of 1951 from Victory Games. This one has a great following, to be honest. This one's an extremely popular game. But again, Joe Bukowski's just recently retired, and he's working very hard on this. I just got an update from him earlier this week. We've pretty much locked down the changes being made. So pay careful note to what the enhancements are to this edition that Joe wants to make, that he's very, very happy to make, very excited to have this opportunity to make. So first thing is we'll have 3 maps total with larger counters, 9/16" counters. You won't be squinting your eyes anymore. We'll be looking to make the counter design smarter with mnemonics, etc. We're updating the game map information, all new artwork, again, all new reinforcement charts, etc. But there were some things that were caught in the original Korean War based on our research that we realized we have to address. We have to put restrictions on the UN build-up and breakdown cycle, because otherwise there's a little gaming mechanic in the original Victory Games edition where you can just, as the UN player, you can just perpetually keep the action phase going on by reorganizing units. So we have to put an end to that because we want to make this a better game. So that's what we're doing. Also, we're modifying the amphibious assault system, which allows the UN player to more effectively create the September 1950 Incheon invasion, so it's less predictable. It's going to be less predictable in the game. The victory conditions for global tension are going to be somewhat minimized. They had too much power in the game. Again, these are all things we learned from all the player feedback, from all the research that was done, just based on what everybody said about the game and what Joe himself what he knows about his design. And also to add a little more unpredictability, we're going to add some random events to the game as well as an option. So again, really excited to be working with Joe Bukowski. Somewhat of a supersized edition, fixing some gaming mechanics we found. We want to do some things to take some of the predictability away about inch-on landings that made it a little too predictable. Want to make it a little more tense for you all, and Joe knows just how to do that. So again, very excited to welcome Joe Bukowski to the Compass family for the Korean War. And the Korean War is also slated, good news, same as NATO Division Commander. Korean War is slated for Q2 of next year, so not far away, just after May through April through May period, April, May, June period. So again, that's the Korean War. So let's look at the next one that we have that we've now announced that will also be appearing on the catalog. This one I'm going to spend a little time on because I have a great team assembled for this one, and really it's the team that makes this special, I would say, and also the original designer makes this a very special project as well. And another reason it's going to be special is we're going to bring this series back to life and really expand upon it. So I'm really excited about it. So I've talked about this in the past. So we've secured the rights for the entire Tank Leader series. This was started by John Hill. May he rest in peace. Fantastic person. I had the privilege to meet John Hill at Consum World Expo. Done some amazing designs that we've all enjoyed, of course. Of course, Squad Leader comes to everybody's mind. And our first title is a new edition. Really, it's a dedication. This is really a dedication to John Hill. And the way we're making this a dedication to John Hill is we've got the original designers from the 2 subsequent games in the series. These were all done by West End Games originally. And we've got the 2 designers, Peter Corliss. Let me get the names here. I want to get them right. Leonard Clam and Peter Corliss were the actual designers for the later editions based on John Hill's design. Western Front Tank Leader and Desert Steel. So what happened was the game series actually progressed as these 2 new games came out. So Desert Steel was the latest release and actually has the latest series editions of the rules. So what we're looking to do is we're using Desert Steel. Desert Steel is the starting point for the series of rules that has to go into Eastern Tank Leader. And then we've got a stellar project team. We've got Marcus Stupner, who's done a lot of amazing work on Eastern Front. He's done some scenario work. He's done a lot on Consum World Forum. He's a true expert and veteran of the game. We've got 1 or 2 others as well that are true veterans of the game. So what we're doing is the following. We're going to honor John Hill's original design. Of course, it's updated because Desert Steel was an updated version, but we're also talking as the project team of how we can enhance the game further. So obviously, we're looking to enhance the components. One thing we're discussing right now is there's variable terrain on the original map for Eastern Front Tank Leader, and I know there's concern about how the terrain itself would need to change on the map. So we're considering right now, we're still making decisions about how best to roll this game out and making design decisions around possible geomorphic map sections where you don't have to have these variable terrain at all. You don't have to deal with that at all. We'll get rid of that. That's something we're looking to try to address with the first release of Eastern Front Tank Leader. But then what's going to happen is we'll also release Western Front Tank Leader. We'll then also release Desert Steel. There's another game already somewhat in the can that's using the Tank Leader series as well. It was just never published. So we've got a brand new design based on Tank Leader series. And then we're looking to extend the game to take it to historical battles. So having historical battle modules of Tank Leader series. So we're really looking to not just reinvigorate this series and dedication of John Hill, but have a full, rich, living series of Tank Leader. So we're really excited about this game. Since we're making some final design decisions as the project team and as the co-designers, I mentioned Leonard Quam and Peter Corliss. I'm placing this under Q3 of 2019. I want to make sure we have plenty of time to walk through these important decisions. Everything else, though, should come together fairly quickly with the rules as far as what updates we're making. So again, this is going to have a nice, rich, we're going to take care of the Tank Leader series at Compass. Just watch, what we do over the next few years. We're going to always have something going with that series that we're really excited about. All righty, I've got two more games to announce. Thanks for bearing with me here. You guys are really hanging in there. You guys are amazing. We're covering so much here. So this is one I know a lot about. This is a game I know a lot about, and it's a game that's been worked on a long time. So this one is a big project, so that's why I'm sort of saying this will come later. But this is one that's perfect for the designer. This is a perfect title for designers. Sorry, I shouldn't have a related it's not related to Night Fighter Ace. I'll fix that. How many of you have heard of Hitler's Last Gamble from Danny Parker? Danny's done 6 Bulge games in his career. He's done the Great Battles for the Ardennes Quad, for example. Done some great Bulge games. But unfortunately, and Danny's written some great books on the Bulge. He's a well-respected, renowned author and expert on Bulge. That's what he does. Battle of the Bulge. Danny Parker. He's awesome, right? You probably enjoy games from Danny Parker already. Okay, so what happened was this is a perfect title. This is one I just love for Designer Signature Edition. This is like a dream scenario. Because when Hitler's Last Gamble came out from 3W, multi-page errata. Can I say that without, I'm not taking shots at 3W. I'm just literally reflecting fact here, guys. I'm talking about fact. State of fact is Hitler's Last Gamble is an awesome game that was marred by horrible production and project oversight. And I think you'd agree with me if you're familiar with that release in the 80s. And if you look at Board Game Geek, Console World Forum, look at the errata itself, not a good, happy situation. It goes beyond the icons being the wrong sizes in terms of proportional sizes of the icons of the counters. It had many issues with the map, the rules. So this is perfect. I got to tell you, this is a match made in heaven. Danny Parker, Hitler's Last Gamble, Designer Signature Edition. Wonderful. He's been working on this for quite a while. He's got a project team assembled. Look at these notes I have on the game. I have a lot of notes about what's happening. This is filling up my screen. So this is a rich environment to make this a great game. So everything here is happening to the game to make it better. Some really exciting stuff. So we're fixing the myriad of problems the game had that really cut it. You really didn't have a chance to reach its potential. Now it does with this new edition. It's a great system. The order of battle information, what Danny does as his normal job, it's being updated again. Very extremely detailed order of battle. It's going to be the best around for any Bulge game. Just that's your ticket right there. Historical background article that's going to be featured with the game. Another fantastic piece of history, because that's Dan's expertise, is also just the history writing about Bulge, because he's researched it for 20, 30 years at least, longer than that. But you'll see a lot of new rules in here. You'll see all the enhancements to the game. There's a lot. There's a lot of new scenarios, some full maps, some new full map scenarios, and some smaller scenarios as well. We might even do sort of a mini map for a standalone training scenario. So you really want to look over. The product page has a ton of information. There's a ton of playtest pictures of the game already, but I want to actually show, when we get the artwork started for the game later this year, I want to actually show the actual artwork for the game. But there are playtest pictures. Danny's got a very active group working on the game. But this is going to be a great release of a game. It's getting the love and attention it rightfully deserves. And this will be coming out. This actually might be out Q2 of next year again, between April and June. So I'm particularly excited about Hitler's Last Gamble. So I've got one more for you to wrap it up. Got one more for you. This one I've talked about this is my biggest, this will be my personal biggest project to date, by far. So it's one I'm really enjoying. I got an incredible project team involved in it as well. But we're ready to start the pre-order clock on it, which I'm really excited about as well. So let me bring it on over. And you're going to know about this game, I think. So this is the last one we're going to end on tonight. The Third World War. How many are familiar with the Third World War? It's the series from Frank Chadwick. It's actually composed of 4 different games. So we've been working on this already for almost a year. Sorry for the background noise. I got some dogs barking, you'll probably hear. Dogs are excited about this game too. So this comprises 4 games of the series: the Third World War, which is subtitled Battle for Germany, Southern Front, Arctic Front, and Persian Gulf, all in one package. Then you've got the combined game. What we've done is also, want to pay attention to the enhancements. We've got a great project team together on this. Frank Chadwick's helping with consultation on what we're doing. We're updating the game, really focusing on mnemonics, player aids, a lot of new game markers. You'll see basically everything we've got going on with the game. You'll see here in these bullet points. The game, when it came out piecemeal, had some sort of odd-shaped, smaller maps. We're able to consolidate that. So, for example, the combined 7 maps from Third World War, Southern Front, and Arctic Front will now be 4 larger maps. And we're filling a big gap that's never been covered before in central Russia. So we're adding a new element to the game for a big gap there. But we're basically taking 7 maps of various proportions and sizes, and we've now got 4 locked down full-size maps that made up perfectly. And we're adding terrain to central Russia to help fill that gap. Same thing we're doing also for Persian Gulf. Persian Gulf had 4 maps you had to combine. Now we've got just 2 larger standard size maps. So yes, it's a big package. It's 6 full-size game maps in the box. It's 8 counter sheets. It's 4 games. We've added 1 to 200 new markers in the game because we've got so many experts and veterans who love. There's a great following for this series, first of all. So we've got incredible feedback, and we've gone through it as a project team. The counter manifest, the marker manifest, everything has been completed. Now it's in artwork. We're adding a ton of new things. The player aids and the help you're going to have in playing this game, the mnemonics, we've really made this a much smarter, friendlier, gentler game to play. We've done a lot of enhancements to the game because we know this is one we can't screw up, right? So 4 games in one, 6 full-size maps, 8 counter sheets, tons of player aids, tons of unit displays, incredible attention to detail of how to make it a better game without changing the rules necessarily, that is. So that's what we've done as a project team. So again, and yes, Fleet Series is coming too. Not tonight. I'm not announcing Fleet Series tonight, but yes, that is also in the works from Joe Bukowski. But again, I hope you're excited about Third World War series. This again is the biggest, most ambitious designer edition, signature edition release to date that we're working on. We're going to call this Q3 of next year. Tons of artwork, tons of proofing, tons of new player aids, tons of stuff to have to proof properly. And we want to get it right. So we're going to get it right. We're going to take our time and we're going to get it right. All right. So this is the list of games. So believe it or not, I want to thank you guys so much for hanging in there with me. It's been a long hour. I hope it's been a very exciting hour. I hope you all appreciate what we're doing here with games. Not only, there were a lot of designer signature edition games. It's part of my pipeline. So I hope you like the games we're picking. We're working with these great designers, or we're dedicating to John Hill, and we're doing the best we can with these games. We're like Red Star White Eagle from David Williams. He's got a bit of a history where he's not so happy sometimes when people do things to his games, and he was ecstatic about Red Star White Eagle. I think that's the only time he's been happy with a published game. So Red Star White Eagle, I got to give props. That's probably the best example of designer signature edition. Vance von Boris did a fantastic job of Forgotten Legions. Got a great article coming up in Paper Wars 90 that's shipping soon. So I've covered here Yeah, it was 9 titles. So I've covered 9 titles. So just to summarize, and you'll find them on the website, and I'll be adding images over time as these projects make progress. Ost Krieg, which is the Eastern Front companion, let's call it the sequel to Pacific Tide. So if you're a fan of Pacific Tide, and I think you will be when you start playing that game when it gets released, you're going to like Ost Krieg. Bar-Lev. Bar-Lev's awesome. Bar-Lev's going to be, it's a sexy title. You're gonna have to pre-order Bar-Lev. Frank Chadwick again. Good updated order battle. Change to the sequence of play. Better integrated air and air defense systems in the game. Great looking maps. It's gonna be, Bar-Lev's gonna be awesome. I'm really excited about that. Gregory Smith. I can't get through a session without talking about Gregory Smith. So if you like Night Fighter Ace, Interceptor Ace, Daylight. Interceptor Ace will be becoming available. Masahiro Yamazaki does a fantastic job with Eastern Front. He's taking all his lessons learned from War for the Motherland, the 2-map game. Now we've got it down to a single map, new design, based on War for the Motherland. And I forgot the most important thing of all. About For Motherland. He's done something unique to the game system. It uses the chip pull strengths, the chip pull strengths like Operation Typhoon. He's done that, but the chit strengths change over time, and the Soviet armies get stronger. Same units, same formations, but over time, as their combat effectiveness improves, as it did historically, the combat chits, there's a system where those improve over time as well. It's very, very cool. So it's a great single-mounted map, very playable, great 2-player game from Masahiro. He's a great designer. He's done all the artwork as well. Then a bunch of designer signature edition games. There's 5 of them. There's NATO from Bruce Maxwell. We're going from 1983 to 1986 because it makes total sense with the updated order battle and all the historical research. And again, it's going to be a great game. The Korean War by Joe Bukowski. Again, knew exactly what to do to that game. Very, very bullish on that game. It's a very popular title already. I've talked a lot about Tank Leader, Eastern Front. That's going to become a whole new line and family of games. And again, the best part of all is we have the co-designers involved in this series as well. So that's going to be a great, great release between Leonard Quam and Peter Corliss, those 2 designers, and our project team. Hitler's Last Gamble. Well, that's probably my favorite for designer signature edition because that one needs the most fixes. It's the best game, but it needs the most fixes. So it's just so rich. It's so target-rich environment for making it a great game. So really excited about that. And the last one, Third World War series. Again, all the games in one box. I think the price is very fair for all the stuff and research and how we're making the game better. It's truly a deluxe gaming experience. It's going to be a gaming treat when you see all the aids of how we're helping the game, just make it a better game across the board. I think you're going to love it. It's going to be well worth the investment for a Third World War series, and that's a good thing. We have a pre-order now, but pay later option, right? So you don't have to worry about pay. But it's a very fair price for 6 maps, 8 counter sheets, tons of player aids. It's going to be fantastic. Last thing I want to remind you all about is Compass Games Expo is November 9th through the 12th. It's not far away. We have over 75 registered attendees now. If you go to the website for Compass Games, just click on the Expo 2018 link. We're showing the game assignments, what people would like to play. I'm going to be sending out an update this weekend for all the pre-registered attendees of how to refine their game selections. We'll be doing some great things. It's on the East Coast. We've got some game designers that will be there as well. I know we have several that will be there with a lot of great play tests. So yeah, very excited. I hope I get to meet you in November at Compass Games Expo. Please look out for the Compass Games catalog that covers the 9. When can I breathe? When can I breathe again? I just covered 9 titles in one night. But yeah, it was great. It was really exciting. And yeah, they're all projects I'm working on here at Compass Games. So I love what I'm doing. I love working with the team. I love the designers, love the project team members, love the artists. What's not to love, right? So again, I want to thank everybody. That's what we have in store. you'll see these games in the next 5 to 9 to 10 months. Everything I've talked about tonight, I didn't say 1.5 years, 2 years, 2.5 years, nothing like that. It's all stuff that's coming, and I'm glad for a change. We can get the pre-order pages up a little bit earlier instead of just at the last moment when there's maybe only 3 months till the game ships. So take a look at all the titles. Send us your questions. You can reach me at john@compassgames.com. Take a look at Paper Wars. You get some good bonus counters, get some good replacement counters. We actually talk about what you're getting in the magazine, so make it real easy on you. We got a great game design by Jack Green coming out. MacArthur rode the baton. I like that topic myself personally. So a lot of great stuff coming. Apologies to those for Facebook Live. It's on the Facebook side. It didn't start up tonight. So the Facebook folks will get this recorded session. And I think we'll do a drinking game. Actually, next time I do this in 6 or 9 months with a catalog, every time I mention a new pre-order title, guess what? I'm going to do espresso shots, okay? Just to be safe and not be dangerous. I will not get in a car after I do the next catalog, big catalog unveil for Compass next year. I will not do alcohol. I will do espresso shots. I will set up my machine to the side. I will do this, okay? I promise I will do this. I will get my espresso shot out, and I expect each of you, next time I see you in 6 to 9 months, and we do our next catalog, if I have a few pre-order titles I have to get through, you're going to do whatever you're going to do, but you're going to do it in a safe, responsible way, okay? All right, guys, you have a great night. I hope you like what you've heard. There's a lot of other projects going on as well that I haven't talked about. I'll be doing updates in the future, and let me know what you'd like to talk about. We'll get a lot of designer interviews scheduled as well. I'll look to get these designer interviews scheduled as well, a lot of titles. And the designers are working very hard on these games. So I'm very bullish that these will be quality releases and not disappointing at all. So again, have a good night, everybody. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.